Welcome to Sunday with to Miracle Sunday with Pröhl and Newton. It's a pleasure and an honor and a joy and a transformation to be with you here in this holy instant. And I think for me at least, like the best to experience together is, we go a bit through the theory, go into the experience, but really feel the message coming alive in us again. Joshua, welcome. Welcome to you. India time, 2:30, 2:38 p.m. Your mic is off.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hey,
Hi.
good to
Happy to be here.
yeah, we're happy to have you. Good to see you all here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's 2:38 p.m. in India.
Mm.
Christ time.
Christ. Yeah, right. Must be time for Christ again.
And yeah, it's Christ time everywhere. Oh, Denny has joined from India.
It's great to see us all coming to that together. Lynn from the UK. Great that you're here. Marie from, I think, South America. I don't know where Marie is located at the moment. And good to see you guys from Germany.
Lucia, Helga, Christian, Irene. Yeah. Maybe Kevin and Katia, they'll be joining, I hope.
Yeah, I'm very excited about our new topic that we just discovered. How many hours ago? 3 hours ago? How long was it ago? I think pretty much 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Thought,
And we
hey,
were wondering, what is Christ or who is Christ?
what does he do? Is he doing anything at all?
Yeah, how do we title this? What is Christ? That was a profound dilemma that we had. What indeed is Christ? Who knows? Who knows other than what we've been told by masters through centuries, through time? Uh, there have been many terms, haven't there been? Many, many terms signifying the same symbol and, still intriguing, still mysterious, but it cannot be discussed about, it cannot be defined, it can only be experienced.
Seen at work? Maybe that's the question we pose in this month. Can it be seen at work? Or is the Christ silently doing nothing? What do you think, guys? Is he doing nothing? Raise your hand if you think he's doing nothing, please. Okay, so we all think he's doing something. Who thinks he's doing something? All right. It's not a democracy, it's just about
You won, you won.
and the Christ who's not doing anything is not raising his hand.
Yeah. Christ says, I do need nothing. So,
Is that right?
so um, yeah, I mean, in a way, being is doing so. So you're right. Uh, but being is also non-doing. So we are also, rest of us is also right. So, um, it's a very troublesome area when we like this other term which course always talks about the word creation, like this term creation the term Christ is also kind of I mean, how can I be in state of being non-Christ, uh, you know, think and talk and discuss about the state of being Christ. So it's like spirit does not understand ego, and the ego does not understand the spirit. So it's mutually exclusive. And while, I mean, these are my thoughts. I'm just thinking aloud. I'm just sharing. While uh, ego is a domain of action and doing, I think spirit being what it is itself is enough. Uh, I don't know whether it's doing or non-doing, but like I said, like being itself is a troublesome idea, like creation and Christ. It's we don't know actually. We know nothing about uh, such deep um, noumena. It's not a phenomenon, right? I mean, it's not a phenomenon. It's a noumenon. What is behind? What is meta? What is behind the existence? I mean, I'm caught in the projection, and I'm trying to understand what extension is. And um, maybe I like to be troubled like this, theological thinking and talking. And I mean, this is kind of, whenever I feel wicked, I think this way. Like,
Mm.
am I not confused? Am I not always, or should I be convinced? So, I'd rather not be convinced about these ideas, which are clearly above my paycheck. And that humbles me so that I can go back to the book or the source or the teaching.
Mm.
And every time you get renewed, even after decades, you sometimes come across um, ideas and expressions in the Course in Miracles that it surprises you again and again. And that's when you realize that, okay, there are many ways to read and approach wisdom, which is of another dimension itself. So, yeah, like I said, we have chosen a topic which is not um, not at all mundane, shall I say. Uh, Yet we are thrilled and so excited to approach the idea that maybe, maybe it's a term that denotes my true identity. I mean, without jumping into conclusion, let's not jump into conclusion here. Let's not be blind. Let's approach this uh, with care and gentleness uh, and some excitement.
Yeah. I think what you're pointing to, Joshua, like how I hear you, is the Christ is tr transcending experience on one hand, like letting go of all my worldly ideas, judgment, worries, doubts. And at the same time, like that's how I would like to explore it. It's kind of bringing it down to our very direct worldly actions as well. But I can't do that unless I let go of my preconceived ideas that I wasn't even aware of before. Like maybe semi-conscious, like, yeah, I think this, I think that, la la la, yeah, yeah, this is how it is. And when the heat of transformation enters my life, and I have to have a closer look at what I believe and think, the Christ is my go-to, or let's call it Jesus or God, or doing the lessons or reading in the course.
Mm,
And through that, well, Jesus calls it an experience of irritation and desorientation, even. Like there are periods of desorientation, period. Where I
mm,
think I ran my life against the wall, and I did so many things wrong, and now I'm paying the price for it, la la la. But he's leading me through those thoughts. And when when the vision becomes clearer again, I see I have very concrete uh, things I feel naturally guided to. It's not even like, oh, I wonder what I should do, but like I feel myself, I'm back on track somehow.
Mm.
Though the only change that was required was my change of mind, of course. Um, but to me, it feels like, and I wonder how you feel about it, Joshua. To me, it feels like from this transcending experience of I just want to let everything go, just want to let everything go. Everything I think is hurting me, and I just want to be in the peace of God. I get reassembled somehow, placed into 3D. Here I am talking to you. We're doing stuff, and it feels like it's the right thing to do. So to me, it's kind of like this, you know, being cycled through again and again and being of service
Yeah, yeah.
in the moment.
Back in India, there was this the teacher, most of you would be knowing Shankaracharya. Uh, he kind of picked one of the major ideas from Upanishads and expanded on it. It's simplified into a term called neti, and in Sanskrit it is na iti. It's not this. All right.
Uh,
Okay. Now, the way he said to approach truth or what is or Christ is by understanding that what is not. And so it's by realizing and recognizing that, okay, this is not it. This is not it. So, because we imagine that we are in a linear time and we go through experience as a consequence in a sequential manner, one after another. And every time, uh, because we come with an agenda, right? We are imperfect, and imperfection gives birth to moha, the desire to have, to become. So once you're born, and it starts a chain of sequences, right? One after another. But every time you experience something and then you decide or you come to a clarity that, no, this is not the point of salvation. This is not the source of salvation. Neti, and then you deny. We are familiar with the idea of true denial. So this is kind of a true denial was discussed in Advaitam called neti. So I think to come back to our discussion here, connecting there, it is by perhaps what you said and what we are all implying is that it is by understanding that my true identity is not Joshua or what Joshua thinks who he is, and by letting go of all that. And then what remains, as Ramana Maharshi always says, what remains, what is, after we have let go of all those aspects, the Christ remains. I mean, that's our understanding, or that's where we are approaching. So that's a kind of a negating, the path of negation. You negate what we have felt through childhood, youthhood, adulthood, and all the corpus, the body of experiences. And you see through them, and you see that there is nothing that holds, nothing that can remain with you, nothing that stays with you. And also, if we notice through introspection and some deep inspection, we notice that um, they have been changing. You know, in the childhood, you had a desire, and that desire had a color and a content. And when you grow out of it, you go back to the same experience, but it tastes differently. So, which means that the existential experience has always been changing. Whereas even if you're a child or a young man or a young woman or an old woman, you step into this something else, this identity. It was always the same experience of peace that you had a glimpse when you were back, maybe in the teens, or maybe when you're 70s, in your 70s, you step in and you experience the same universal experience, every one of us. So there must be something, like I said, without jumping into conclusion, maybe we analyze through this our own empirical experience, the empirical evidence proves that on one hand, existentially, what we experience outside, they keep changing, even seemingly the same things. But on the other hand, internally, you step into the interiority, the interior, you have the very same exact experience of peace, love, and joy, or bliss or ananda, all through the journey. So, which makes this subject so exciting. Okay, now we have something, uh, you know, charmingly changeless, something that is something that we can resort to, a kind of a refuge, what Buddha called as a refuge, the Dhamma as a refuge, Christ as a refuge. So, I mean, it took me, I mean, so many years and decades to even begin to, look at these two distinguished possibilities. Of course, obviously helped. I mean, it tells us that look, you can prove this by looking at your thought systems. You stick with the spirit, and that becomes a thought system by itself, and it expresses in a very distinguished way than the thought system that you experience when you choose to align with your separate identity, the ego identity. And so it's so evident, it's there. So we are coming now gently to the conclusion that, yeah, I mean, there's something, I don't know whether it's called Christ or Shaivam, or, you call it anything, but we do have a refuge, a permanent refuge. And today, I think we are calling it Christ at this moment of time. And this is good news.
It's actually huge. I just in my mind, in my conceptual mind, I'm just going through the passages in the course where he refers to like refuge, identity, Christ, um, being the hands of Christ and the eyes of Christ, um, Christ doing nothing, and things like that. And um, and the love. That's the last thing I had in my mind when I listened to you talking and exploring the topic. Um, I think it's somewhere in the declaration. What is it called in English? Clarification of terms.
Clarification.
Where he talks about Christ, like who's Jesus? What role does Jesus play? And or in the manual for teachers in the back. Um, And he said, like, are there helpers? Is there only Christ? What does it give you to call upon Jesus?
Mm.
Is it like a magical thing that all of a sudden there's this magic happening and you can hear through a word? And he said, no, it's referring to someone who's undertaken that journey and who is your elder brother and can lead you. And well, are there others? Yeah, there are others. There are legions of other helpers, which is great. Like we don't have to say it's only Jesus, is it? No, there's legions of others who are helping that for the physical eye maybe not visible. Uh,
Mm.
right, Anisha? Isn't that so? That there are others? just to make sure I'm on the right track. Good. And yet, Jesus is talking or reminding us of the love of Christ. I think that's maybe I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he's pointing that out. It's about the love of the Christ that he's reminding us of. And then, of course, he is making that step to that special aid the course promotes, which is my brother. And saying that you will, in a little while, you will see me when you have learned to make me manifest in everyone. And
Mm.
so that's like, okay, I have to again, like seemingly make an effort in my mind to include my brother again, which I'm used to exclude my brother. I'm used to seeing him outside as someone else in a separate life with another body. And again and again, the reminder comes, this is your shortcut to remember who you are by including your brother back in. He has the key. That's what the Christ is, and what puts me um, in that heat of undoing my old perception. And I'm not always grateful for that. Like honestly, I don't always appreciate being undone. Um, because no matter how often I do it, it always feels like I have sinned, I've done something wrong, or someone else has done something wrong. But it's just that old thought system that comes up and keeps my delusion of separation seemingly in place. So I can more clearly look at that I actually, yes, I do believe in guilt and separation, but now when I can look at it, because I feel I cannot not look at it, it's too hot. I have to look at, I don't even know yet what. I have to look at something that's coming up within me so it can be undone because I don't feel comfortable. And I want to feel comfortable. I want to be in peace. I know there's an experience of, as you said, Joshua, I know there's an experience of safety, of beauty, of purpose, of simplicity, of everything is actually good. Oh my God, everything is actually good. I'm actually really innocent. So we receive those experiences as a contrast. So we know quicker when we have diverted into the old thought system and
Mm.
can fulfill our function of forgiveness and find each other again to feel well. And I don't know in time how long that took, but let's just assume it was at least a couple of million years to teach ourselves separation and space and time and bodies, maybe billions, I don't know. Um, so I think it's okay to every now and then feel a little bit uncomfortable in the upgrade process before we can get back to that peace, like it's okay to be uncomfortable for a moment if that means just moving through those old layers.
Uh,
And it's okay, it's okay. We're safe. Yeah.
yeah, safe, yeah. Uh, but it takes a lot of convincing, conviction to feel safe that way because we are not built to feel safe. We
Right.
are kind of wired, wired with inbuilt fear. The core of the dream is fear. Which is why we're taking so much of time and effort and seeming effort and sessions like this and classes and retreats and festivals and all that. So every effort is a baby step. We approaching, very carefully. Sometimes we just kind of retreat and we run away. And once my study group knows this very well. I sold away. I had like 3 copies of course back then. It was like 6 to 8 years ago. I sold. I mean, there's a bookshop in Bangalore, Blossom Books. I was in Bangalore. I took these books. And I took it to this bookshop and they had this exchange program. So can you believe that I bought a bunch of thriller novels? I gave away a Course in Miracle copies, three copies. And I realized that this happened only after 4 5 months. I don't know how to explain that, but this really happened. And, deleted the audiobook away from my laptop, from the external disk, from my phone.
Okay.
That's a kind of crazy thing that your mind can play on you, the game that it plays on you. You fall into trance. But I think the positive turnout of that event was that after a few months, I realized that something, uh, vicious had happened around this. And then I kind of was so convinced that, okay, A Course in Miracles is saying truth. It is speaking truth. That is why this vicious attack happened from my mind and without even me knowing. So, uh, yeah, in the end, so like I said, man, we are so afraid of encountering Christ. We don't want to. We just still want to play. Course at one point says that I think it's in the same section that you mentioned that you cannot look at, no one can look at knowledge. I think there's a lot of implications hidden within that sentence because uh, if you think you're separate from knowledge, then you cannot look at it.
Mhm.
It's deep Advaita, I think. It's deep non-dualism it's talking about. No one can look at knowledge, which means if you think you're separate, then you cannot.
Right. It's like uh, revelation is beyond consciousness. Like it's nothing to be revelation is nothing we can be conscious of. It's
Oh,
beyond this level of I'm conscious of something.
yeah. I remember reading this Urantia book a long way back, even before Course in Miracles, and somewhere it says that it's a kind of a reportage that has come as a channel material. Some of you will be knowing the Urantia book. And in one place in section 4, Life and Teachings of Jesus, it says that uh, the apostles, the disciples, mentioning that we couldn't even look at Jesus, our master, at some times. On some days they couldn't even look at his face.
Right.
That's that's something, isn't it?
Because he was so such a clear
That
representation of
love,
truth.
love beaming was so powerful that they couldn't even look at him.
Right.
So Course says it, no one can look at knowledge. So as long as we believe that we are separate from Christ, we will not understand what Christ is. I
Mhm.
think that's which is why the world is still mystified and stupefied by the term Christ.
Yeah,
And
let's stick with the old interpretation so we've got something to hang on to. Maybe.
yeah,
Maybe that's all like yeah, I'm in the whole process of forgiving myself to believe in the crucifixion. But I now that you're speaking, I see that maybe the fear of letting go of my separate identity makes it acceptable to see the Christ as crucified and crucified for our sins, even. It's like, oh, no, I know what happened. Even though in my logic, like reasonable mind, nothing of this makes sense. But it's like, I'd rather keep that and not having to question my wrong identification. So otherwise, the love would be too strong. I don't know. Like I'm just making that, but
mm,
somehow this finds healing in my mind too as I listen.
yeah. I mean, you have a point there. Like, let's for a moment, please allow my intellectual
Yes,
fascination
you,
around this. So, I
you-
mean, just for the sake of discussion, we know that this is a dream. All sincere Course in Miracles students know that this is a dream. We're dreaming. Absolutely, we have reached that point. So no need for more convictions on that. Now, we're dreaming. All right. Okay. Now, this projection of Joshua, for instance, I mean, represents all of you, each of you, is 56 years old. This projection in within the time of this projection. Now, isn't this 2000 years of history, the entire history of mankind, doesn't it fall within this 56 years of time? I mean, look at your age, perspective of your each of your age, whatever that is, 60, 70, 40. The entire history of mankind is 40 years old or 70 years old within our dream time,
Right, right. Okay.
which means now step two, within that dream, a certain Jesus was crucified.
Right.
How convenient. How convenient for the son who's seemingly imprisoned. We have cooked this up, Andreas. We cooked this up within the dream. We crucified Jesus. I mean, this is not a guilt game. This is just an academic
Just
interest.
being
But
honest.
yeah, if you if you look at the metaphysics and you look through the metaphysics, you'll see that it is your game and my game. This story of Jesus being crucified and he resurrected and all, it's like the memory of our guilt versus the memory of our innocence.
Yeah.
There's no history. It's a myth in my mind.
Right.
So
That's
yeah, I don't
that's
know
right.
whether that makes sense to you, but
You
it's like
you
nonsensical, like actually.
I think you're bringing it down to this moment, Joshua. Like what is it for me now? Like, do I see him on the cross and do I feel guilty for nailing him onto it?
Exactly.
Am I accepting his true message now?
And Coase says that, look, this is a message of resurrection. Now, Coase represents resurrection, not crucifixion. What we call as Christianity is the axial point of that religion is crucifixion.
Mm.
While that's the thought system, right? That's just a thought
Right.
system in which I believe that I crucified the Son. And now I'm like free of free from the chains of God, and I can play here within a body, blah, blah, blah. But then Coase comes along and reminds me that, look, you're innocent. Nothing of that sort can ever happen. You're free. Now, can you, for a moment, stick on with the thought system of resurrection? So that's where uh, the meat is, the juice is.
And I love that, Joshua, because we've been just celebrating Easter and celebrating, well, at least some of us celebrating the resurrection, and go like really seeing that it's actually alive within us, like that in each moment, as he says in the course, each day, each hour of the day, each minute, every second, I decide between crucifixion and resurrection.
Understood.
Um,
Heaven or hell.
Heaven or hell, like there's no in between, no neutral space where I can kind of weigh and see what's better. Like I'm either in one or in the other. And to see it's actually a decision. It feels so natural to be in the crucifixion. Life feels like the crucifixion, basically. I'm constantly losing. Every morning I look older. Um, and every morning there's less money. Like the money I got yesterday is gone today. Like that's a reflection of I'm
It's a
constantly being
cross.
crucified.
Yeah.
Today, yesterday I was liked. Today I have to, see does do people still like me? And like that's the crucifying mind.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
choose again in each moment. Like, do I want to go with that, or can I go with the winning team, which is the Christ, God, our true self, who says like you're eternally innocent and you're eternally relieved from all the burden you thought you had to carry. So, and here we go, right? Like it starts with the intellectual understanding, like, okay,
Mhm.
okay, I can go with that. Uh, and now my question, my prayer, my passion is let me help me to make that step into the experience. So it doesn't stick with my intellectual understanding or belief or religion, but
Mm.
I live it now. Like I'm living the resurrection now. Like how do I make that step? Can I even make the step, or is he doing it for me when I'm bringing my little willingness? So apparently that's all that it takes. Heal my little willingness and
Yeah,
change my mind.
yeah. The truth is that we cannot do anything else, actually. I mean, a couple of days ago, I don't know, for some strange reason, I was thinking about my old friends and some other relatives, and I was like thinking, what would they be thinking about me? And now they're not in my universe. We're not in touch. So they must be thinking bad about me, or like, judging me and all that. So that seemingly innocent thought itself is a reflection of my choice to be crucified.
Yeah.
I want to die every moment on the cross.
Interesting. What an insight, huh? That's massive. And it's not like it's actually a learning step, Joshua, because uh, we're distracted with other things. We think it's not that. It's not about that. It's about like, do I move to another town or do I stay here? Who do I marry? Do I get another child? What kind of coffee to drink this morning? You think it's about that.
We think it's about that. But it's always about wanting to get crucified or not,
Right.
or wanting to resurrect out of this dream. And it is so perfectly hidden. It's not, you will never find this out unless you turn to the Holy Spirit. I mean, keep on turning. I mean, looking at him, looking with him. And some point, these glimpses, it happens to all of us. It comes, tiny bit of revelation that comes, and the aha moment, it comes to all of us. But we have to align with the Spirit, and it if you're salty, it desalinates us. Our saltiness is gone. We become clean. If we believe that we are guilty, we are made as white as snow. And that alchemist is the only source of help. He's your only friend, Cole says.
Mhm.
Uh, so you said right. I mean, that's the only thing we can do. Can you give the willingness to turn toward him within you, her within you every time? But we forget. I mean, we forget. We stumble. We fall into all sorts of drama. And after a couple of hours, I mean, fortunately, actually, it was like after a couple of years before.
Yeah, right.
But
What
now,
acceleration.
yeah, acceleration has happened.
I would like to share something from the lessons, lesson 261. Ah, sorry, no. Where was it? 353. My eyes, my tongue, my hands, my feet today have but one purpose, to be given Christ, to use, to bless the world with miracles. And here's a prayer. Thank you, Jesus, for this prayer. Father, I give all that is mine today to Christ, to use in any way that best will serve the purpose that I share with him. Nothing is mine alone, for he and I have joined in purpose. Thus has learning come almost to its appointed end. a while I work with him to serve his purpose. Then I lose myself in my identity and recognize that Christ is but myself. So here really like it is a prayer to get out of my concepts and my drama into a service. And service always means there's some purification going on, like there's some forgiveness needs to happen within me. Um, and it's actually astonishing. I was looking for that passage in the course, but I couldn't find it that quickly. In the text, he talks about that Christ has no hands, no eyes, no ears, and so on, but um, he can use ours. So my hands are his, my eyes are his. Like if I align myself, of course, with him, otherwise I'm just playing my dream game. But he's actually working through us, and I think that's an amazing adventure we're on, because this is probably one of my favorite quotes in the course that my life can become a meaningless and a meaningful encounter with truth. My life, your life, can become a meaningful encounter with the truth. And I couldn't imagine a more exciting prospect and purpose for my life here to encounter truth. Like even in 3D, we don't even have to lay off the body. That I can see him at work through me.
Yeah.
And how amazing is that he can use everything we have made up as a judgment or like as condemnation for the Son of God. He has a real purpose for that, so we can learn that we are free, still free. Nothing has changed. Amazing. Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. What do you think, Yashar? Shall we open up for sharing or something like that?
I was enjoying that bit of wordlessness, you know.
Let's be the wordless.
Can't thank enough. I mean, I'm sure that all of us, each of us will be doing this in private, that I think most of us thank this wisdom and this path, this book, and this joining, the brothers who come around us. Not a day passes without that. Because once we were lost, yeah, not knowing why these trials were happening in our lives, these trials, this injustice, we had no, framework to even figure out why why certain things are happening. I mean, we were lost, and of course, we each of us searched on like in different places for meanings and uh, explanations, and we knocked doors, we went here and there, but every time we were looking at outside, looking at sources outside of us, and who knew that the answer was you? The answer was always you, the real identity, the truth in you. And we have a saying in India, it says that, I mean, roughly something like this, that the God uh, knew where to hide the truth, where you would be looking, that'll be the last place where you'll be looking for. That is within you. So he hid it there. And that's a kind of a saying here. So the one who you were searching was the one who was searching. And we are talking about Christ here. Even though I don't personally, I'm not a big fan of that word. Uh, it's like loaded and it comes within my 56 years of human history in the dream. I have ascribed a lot of meanings to it, and but still, that spirit of what it implies, what it holds, what it represents is the most precious uh, treasure, where your heart is. So, Andreas, I can only keep on thanking and praising. Once you fall into that frequency, you know, as a man, we can discuss intellectually about all this, but once you slip out of the manhood, the human state, uh, now we understand why Ramana Maharshi always used to uh, remain so naturally in silence. Uh, it's a language of light in the dream, silence. So,
Yeah.
how beautiful everything is. Doesn't Coase say at some point that you would sit at the feet of your brother and weep, you know, when you recognize this whole game and Christ is all, Christ is everything. But I wanted to approach this thought and this idea of the day delicately rather than we jumping into, let it be our experience rather than a discussion. Let it be our feeling rather than a thought or a term. What a spectacular instant is that instant in which you see yourself as love, as pure love. I mean, one never suspects this to happen, right? And we never thought this would happen. I'm still like a child whose wonder. I'm still in that sense of wonder. You never ever imagined. I never ever imagined that you would be able to look at yourself as love itself and nothing else. I mean, what a moment that is. Thank you for coming together and enjoying, joining with joy.
Wow. Yeah, that's big, Joshua. Thank you. Yeah, it's so close, and we really benefit from one another, um, because when one forgets, the other one may remember, and offering it to us. Like there's really nothing to find except this holy instant that we share. Um, and it's beautiful to seeing you being touched, Joshua, by that grace. And um, yeah, that really across conditionings and different religious backgrounds or educational backgrounds, the grace is the same. And that unites us. I want to share a beautiful story that I saw today. Maybe you've heard about the four astronauts traveling around the moon in Artemis 2, and they came back like 24 hours ago. Like they splashed,
Yeah.
and like from my perspective, I thought, oh man, for us it seems to be so natural to be walking on this planet. It's just there, you know. There's water, there's air, there's earth and fire. And from their perspective, like they've been around the moon, and all they saw was this blue dot somewhere there, 400,000 k's away, and they somehow have to make it in that uh, tin back to that blue dot and hit it at the right moment. So they did, of course. They made it and splashed down in, I think, in the Indian Ocean. I don't know exactly, but they did. And just a few hours ago, they had the first press conference, and of course, they did not process like and even half of what they experienced and the new perspective that they got. But one of the crew members, Mrs. Koch or Koch from the US, she shared how her understanding of crew changed, being a crew. And she shared that it's different from a team. As a crew, you're in for one another, like 24/7. And you're in the same boat in every moment. You are like in every movement, you are geared towards the same goal. And
Mm.
like a relinquishment of personal interest for a higher purpose goal. And like looking back at that little blue dot that's just suspended there in basically blackness, nothing, just like hanging there. I mean, we've got such a limited perspective.
Mm.
She said, like, now I know what crew is. Uh, Here, the world, we are crew. We are in all of this together. Like, all of us, like, we all carry, I think it was from Krishnamurti, a quote that I heard a few days ago. Like, all of us, we share the same human mind. Like, we have worries, we're afraid, we feel guilty, we feel separate. Um, and yet we are on a journey to a higher purpose, knowingly or unknowingly. And we're all in this together. Like we cannot say like I'm other than you. Like I have different worries. Or you have no worries, I have worries. Like it's the same mind. Like we're in the same programs, even though they may have different colors and shapes. But essentially, we're all striving towards the
Towards
same thing.
towards that blue dot.
Towards the blue dot. Yeah, that seems to be so far away. That's a nice analogy. That's right. Like this elusive goal, who knows if we can make it to awaken or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah. That's a perfect meta. I mean, it aligns. That simile is so perfect. Yeah. We are getting back to the promised land, or we're getting back to the, what do you call, what's that parable? The prodigal son's house. So we're getting back home. So the blue dot signifies, yeah. I'm wondering whether anyone, any among you would like to share or expand on these thoughts, if you may.
And just a reminder at this point, like whatever you may share, it will be recorded. And we'll also put it on YouTube. If you don't want to be, we can also do it that way that I myself or Joshua we stay focused, so we just hear yourself talking, so no one will see your visual, no one will see your video, but
Mm-hmm.
just reminding you of that others will benefit from what you share or whatever you bring up to the table. It's not many, it's just a handful, so don't worry, it's not like on public TV.
Hi, it's Kirsty here. Um, I have an experience. I join with somebody every morning really early, 6 o'clock, and we really get our Course in Miracles heads on, um, and read the book and share and commit to each other that today is going to be about awakening. Today is going to be about forgiveness. Today is not going to be about getting all the ego stuff. And, and then I get into the day and stuff comes up, which I've asked for, effectively. I've asked for forgiveness opportunities. I want to do that. And when it comes up, it just seems to overwhelm me. It just seems to completely knock me off my path, and I just go into survival. I go immediately into survival, thinking, well, because I'm a single mum, so it's not just myself I have to think about. And I think forgiveness can wait, because right now I've got to survive what's just come up. And I also get anger, which is I can't believe that I just can't, why can't I just lead a normal life? For God's sake, I'm not asking for much. So no matter how good my intentions are in the morning, I get knocked off all the time by these very intense forgiveness opportunities throughout the day. And there just seems to be a correlation for me between setting my intention in the morning. Today, everything that arises, I'm going to forgive it. And then how intense the lessons are as they came up. And I'm just thinking, well, if the lessons were just gentle lessons, then might be better. But unfortunately, they're not. So I'm just wondering if you had anything.
Oh, you know what that reminds me of, Kirsty? It
Well,
reminds me of the transformation of a unholy to a holy relationship. Like you set the goal, you say, okay, this relationship is dedicated to truth or to healing, but that's just the invitation for the Holy Spirit to actually come into every aspect of the relationship, or in your case, in every aspect of your day. But then he says, and there might be a moment where you're like suddenly disrupted, like almost dislodged, because it's a necessary dislodgement for us to understand it's time for learning and to not give the ego an opportunity to adjust to this new goal, to really see, okay, now I need to learn something that I haven't learned yet. You dedicated the day to truth and to healing and forgiveness. That's good. But now it needs the steps in each moment to align yourself with the goal you set. And how do you align with the goal of forgiveness? Through choosing miracles. So you by setting the intention, you're not abolishing the need for momentary correction, for momentary choosing again. That is your new job now. So that part seems difficult at first, Jesus says. Like the first steps seem to be difficult because, I don't seem to be able to live a normal life, right? Like what's wrong? But it's just now learning, okay, so now I have to choose a miracle instead of the grievance. Now I choose a miracle despite the fear. Now I ask for help despite of feeling helpless, and so on. So it's an active retraining your mind, and that's how we fulfill our function.
and that's what the daily lesson is there for, to bring it into every moment like that
Exactly.
comes up. Yeah.
And it may feel like a failure, but I think it's in the section where he's exploring vision. And he says, vision will at first show you the error. So it will show you at first that you are upset, that you are judging, that you are in a grievance, that you hate, that you feel guilty, and so on and so forth. So recognizing that is already within the realm of vision, but then of course it needs the other step too, to choose to undo that he may undo that. A replacement, an active free will replacement needs to happen. It's two parts, right? Like seeing that there something must have gone wrong, choosing again. Those two parts are our part, and the correction will come from him. So that
Yeah.
is what we're essentially looking at on a daily basis. Yeah, sure.
Kirsty, you're describing something which is universal. It happens to all of us. We all wish that the lessons would have been lighter, but sometimes they're not. There's this one lesson that's a key lesson which I always turn to. I have underlined it, and it's almost in its entirety the red-lined lesson. It's a key lesson. It's lesson 23. There are so many segments within the lesson. Every aspect of this lesson contribute to just one single idea that every thought you have makes up some segment of the world you see. Right? So it is with your thoughts that we must work. I'm extending from what Andreas rightly said. There are two parts to this exercise that which we must apply every time when we are troubled. Because the first part is happening not because we are not responsible for that. We are responsible for that. So this is something which we need to we have to accept at some point. A seemingly bad or unpleasant event is taking place in our life, not apart from me, because some thought of mine has made this up. Says lesson 23. Lesson 23 is a magical lesson that it holds answers to a lot of our problems. The cause of the world you see is attack thoughts. Okay. Now, it also says it is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. You see, the causal level is always in our mind, whether it's like, maybe our children are not behaving the way we wished that they did, or our neighbor or our boss or the weather, whatever it is, the economy, the money, our wallet, whatever. Each of your perception of external reality is a pictorial representation of your own attack thoughts. See, that's where the catch lies. So like Andrea said, coming down to the later paragraphs, it says that the cause be identified and then let go so that it can be replaced. So that's why, like he said, two steps are there. So first of all, I think we have to identify that whatever event is happening, that's not a problem per se. It is appearing for our sake, because all lessons God wants me to learn. In what way? They're appearing because we did not choose the right answer the previous time, which we do not remember. So seemingly it is appearing as new, the neighbor or the boss or whatever. But at some point, if you accept that, okay, this thing, the tentacles of troubles are indeed coming out of my mind itself. Just for the academic sake, at least we accept. I know that Christy has gone beyond all that. So if we can come to that point, the second part is easier, wherein we can choose actively, dynamically choose peace. This I developed a process out of this lesson 23 called recoding method. It got even a website. Did not post or promote about it, but that method you can apply here. One part is that you identify that this is coming out of my own attack thoughts, maybe from the past or maybe no, I don't know. It doesn't matter. And the second and the active solution is that I'm not a victim of this world. Rather, I have been inventing this on and on and on every moment. So now, for this moment, I know that we forget forgiveness and all. What you said is right. It applies to us. But if you can train your mind, so that's where Coase says that in an untrained mind cannot accomplish anything. So if we can apply this time and again, it is bound to give you results that you can. So how do you actively choose? You can even form a mantra or an affirmation, and every time this thought comes, you can train your brain, if you think in that terms, to conclude, number one, this is an attack thought, and it'll hurt me. Number two, I can actively choose peace now. I choose peace or I choose love, depending on the circumstance and situation. You can reframe the mantra. I choose peace, I choose love, I choose clarity, I choose, I don't know, I mean, I choose some money, whatever. So it is as simple as that. I mean, you have the creative power of God Himself. So I'm not preaching this. I've applied this, and this has been a consistent form of support for me. This method of whenever the thought comes, you identify it as an attack thought, and then you actively choose whatever you want to experience. And to add this, if you remember the rules for decision section, he also says, like Andreas reminded, right in the beginning of the day, we can choose what set of experiences and what set of feelings we would want uh, in that particular day. But he also reminds us to, you don't need to do anything regarding that. You can choose and then let go, but you can renew that through the day. So that momentary choice is still with you. And even if you fail to forgive or, I mean, act on this the next time, and the more you do, the easier it becomes. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you. All right. Anyone?
Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute there. Just thank you, Joshua. That's really, really helpful. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
If you have something on your chest that you want to, that you rather prefer to keep private, maybe it's good to at least kind of circle around the topic to get it out of your private world. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to, address it 100%, but maybe, hey, I'm chewing on something. And which is I can't stand you two guys, okay? I can't stand you. Maybe it's that. I don't like what you're saying. But I always find it helpful not to defend my own thought system and to, give it some air, like not living out the anger, but to express what I actually think. And that has a benefit for all of us because we can look at our own thoughts. So if you have anything like that, please feel free. And I know we all do because we all have the same mind. Like we're all in this together.
Yeah. So, Andreas, who is Christ?
Well, apparently you, me, all of us here, all of us in general,
Who,
as the one.
who indeed is Christ?
Right. So yeah, and I think this is so good. If that's really you, uh, in whatever form you show up, um, I've been wondering, how can I be truly of service, like without being in that sacrifice mode, and but rather in the true giving. Like, how can I be truly giving? And that's a prayer. Like, that can only be a prayer because I don't know of myself. But what I do know is that it feels uncomfortable to stay within my cocoon, no matter how comfortable my cocoon looks like. Uh, and I know that in every time when I can reach out my hand, my experience becomes meaningful. It's a meaningful encounter, and I feel healed. I feel healed, joined. I feel like we crossed that gap of separation for that moment, and there's a true joining happening.
Mm. And all the while, we can also allow ourselves to be human as much as we are trained, or the learning that we have had. What I mean is that mm, you can get angry and still come back to that identity of being Christ. You can feel the lust or be jealous, or uh, even when you have the attack thoughts. I mean, when you say, for instance, when the topic of war comes to your attention, and you don't need to be spiritual. I mean, don't force yourself to be. That's one important thing I think most of us miss, or maybe the ones who are listening to discussions like these may tend to form an idea that you're forced to we're forced to be nothing. I mean, there is absolutely no obligation on our part to fast forward the state of mind, or it's not. It doesn't work that way. Whatever vibration, whatever frequency we find ourselves in, the first responsibility is to accept that. If feeling anger towards one party in the war, or the other party in the war, or even feeling the tightening, or the and some even feel a thrill when they read or come across the news of the war, or will the bombing happen or not. There is an element of thrill in that, and some would want to see death and destruction, and some would be really crushed in their heart, and they but allowing all that is part of the journey uh, in which you recognize you are Christ. So instead of a blanket denial, like Kosei said, you don't need to deny that you have a body. That's a very cheap form of unworthy of the Son of God. So I think practically uh, we have to unravel or unveil the truth in us by going through these dark dimensions, which, if we happen to find ourselves in, sometimes it could be, complete despair or shame, or so these, in the map of consciousness, for instance. these levels of, or these hierarchies are, they're not to be denied, in the sense that believing that you have to be spiritual. I mean, I can pass through this, and this shall pass. Even even this dimension shall pass. That is the greater truth. That is the power of transcendence that you have right now. Which means that, if you put it in another words, you're bigger than the problem. Aren't you? I mean, if you're feeling despair, uh, I think the first thing to do is to accept that I'm desperate. I'm feeling, or if you feel ashamed, I'm feeling ashamed, and uh, but you can also remember you have that capacity in you. I mean, the spirit is working through you, in you. Once we made the call, we once we listen to the call, the help, the active help is always with us. So, uh, I mean, the point is that there is no fast forwarding to the state of Christhood. It's just that, whatever we have to pass through, we have to pass through. So it is also humbling in a way that, to see that, okay, I have this load of bullshit remaining in me, and I don't need to hate it, or I don't need to feel uncomfortable with that. It's okay to be uh, human, and
Yeah.
we are prone to errors, like O says. We are all imperfect. So I think that also is very comforting to us, isn't it, Andreas? That we don't need to force ourselves into perfection, which we are already. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's true. I enjoy that I can come with whatever. Like
Would you
whatever.
want to put yourself in this big frame
Right,
and
right, yeah. I just want to make sure that no one's being recorded.
yeah,
Please.
Marie, do you want to share
What
something?
to say, please?
Oh, there's a visitor. Right. Maybe maybe the grandchild has the phone and wants to check out something. Yeah, yep. I mm, the moments are maybe most humbling in a very refreshing sense are when I do come with all those things, like when I'm not rushing forward, but I just see that I need help with something. Like I'm not necessarily on my journey of enlightenment, but pursuing things of this world and see how heavy it gets. And uh, then just having this a little willingness to be open for him and seeing that he's actually undoing my hurt and my hurtful thoughts and all the things that I believed I had to do, my to-do list, the problems to solve, the things to take care of, all of that drops away. And I just saw that I've been insane. I've just been insane. Like nothing else. I just been brought through my resistance back to a true, simple present moment. And I'm just in gratitude. I don't know how that happened. Like I certainly did not do that. But to finally come through those like false layers or false bottoms, so to say, and letting that journey, allowing that journey, even though the resistances are there and the worries are there and the problems seem to be there, but still going with him just a little bit further and seeing it all dissolve and seeing that actually nothing ever, it didn't happen. Whatever I thought is happening, the dangerous thing or the threatening thing outside is not really going on. It was just my mind. And uh now what can I say?
Sometimes can't you see that it is happening actually in your mind? Sometimes you see that, right?
I see that, yeah. And it's like that story from those four astronauts. Say, hey, we're actually a crew here. Like I'm not an island living amongst other islands. Uh, I rel I'm relying on us being in the same thing, basically. Being in life or being life. And uh yeah, everything I say now is too much, but yeah, we're here to support each other, to be gentle with each other, to be understanding, holding each other's hands, and that my interest is not separate from your interest. Um, so in a way, seeing that we all need help in that, and I can give the help when I'm conscious enough. Um, yeah, and it makes it meaningful. It makes this moment meaningful. Yeah, I like living that. I like living that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for today's joining again. Once again, my time.
yes, you have to go. You have another class. Thank you. And that
And
like if you want to support us in this format, I would like to ask you to support Joshua directly. There's a link in the chat for Joshua's PayPal. Please feel free to make use of it. I know it's very gratefully received, whatever support you may want to send as a financial form of appreciation for the work we're doing. Thank you so much, everyone. See you in a moment.
thank you.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.